So we are up to the semi-finals of the Perth Sevens, and it's feeling a little bit like deja vu as once again, for the second week in a row, New Zealand versus Fiji is one of the semi-finals. Now on the other side of the draw, there's a little bit of a change. It will be South Africa once again, but they are up against Australia, the host, rather than France, but some big semis just around the corner. That sounds weird. But some big matches just about to happen in Perth. We're going to be breaking down one of them. And at this preview, we will be looking through at the previous fixtures for these two sides that got them till this point, the key players to watch out for, and then also a prediction at the end who I think will win this contest. But we can start with the Fijians, and they had once again a very successful group stage, just like we saw in Singapore last week. They were able to win their opening contest 26 points to 10 over Argentina. So a bit more of a one-sided game than people would have expected. Argentina now playing off for the 5th place semi-final rather than the top 4 in this competition. In their next game, Fiji were able to get the victory over Spain, 26 points to 24. And then the last contest, once again, a very close one up against South Africa. But the Fijians, 2 weeks in a row for their 3rd group stage fixture, have been able to beat the Blitz box, 20 points to 14. Now, Fiji missed 4 kicks in that contest compared to South Africa, who had 100% kicking accuracy. So that could have been the difference. But in the end, Fiji still able to win it. For New Zealand, they were beaten in their opening contest up against the Australians, 21 points to 14. So a great game for the home side Australia, who of course have also qualified for the semi-finals. The second game, New Zealand were defeated by Great Britain, 26 points to 19. So the Kiwis at this stage had lost both of their games. Now, I know you must be wondering, how did they make it through to the semi-finals with 2 losses? Well, this group was a lottery in terms of who was winning the contest. The only thing that was for sure was the fact that Australia won all of their games. So they qualified as number 1. New Zealand, in the end, they snuck in as number 2, predominantly because of this win that they got in match number 3, beating the French 26 points to 21. They finished up with 5 points in the group. France finished up with 4. And Great Britain, going into their last game up against Australia, needed that victory to help boost themselves into the semi-finals and have New Zealand miss out. They weren't quite able to get the job done. So with that being said, New Zealand and also Australia, they went through to the next stage. But looking at key players to watch out for in this contest for the Fijians, Vuiviwa Nadovalo, he was able to score in that last contest up against the South Africans. He continues his try-scoring ways. He is currently neck and neck with Jeremy Trevor-Thick when it comes to overall tries scored throughout the regular series. Will be an extremely crucial game up against New Zealand, and when you've got a player like Vuiviwa Nadovalo, you always know a try is not a mile away. Also in this Fijian side, Bongina Soko, he had a brilliant impact in that last contest up against the South Africans. He was a young man who made his debut just last week in Singapore and scored in every single group stage match, so we know he's got potential. He has scored in the Perth Sevens as well, and he will definitely be a player to keep an eye on in this contest. And then the last man, I'm going with Sivo Mothanotangi. Due to those couple little injury concerns of Josefa Talatholo, that is when you need your other big men to be able to step up. And Sivo Mothanotangi, he looks like he's doing just that. So another player keep an eye on for this match. But moving on to New Zealand, someone who's done very well off of the bench predominantly in this competition has been Michael Manson. He's got a ton of pace and just seems to have that little chip in behind, which no side has been able to work out as of yet. I believe he scored 3 tries off it, including in Perth and Singapore. So if he keeps on using that, it could be an extremely effective tool up against Fiji. Also in this New Zealand side, you can't go past that step of a Kulia Rokalisawa. Will be not just a key when it comes to the running for New Zealand, but also off that kicking tee. Needs to get those kicks over because that will add additional points and give them a very good chance of, if it's a close game, sneaking by up against the Flying Fijians. And then the last player to keep an eye out for New Zealand, there are honestly a few, but I would say Frank Vainuku, probably the last man that I am watching out for big time in this semi-final. He has got some pure power. He's been nicknamed Frank the Tank for a reason. Just bulldozes over opposition, and bringing that physicality to a match up against Fiji could lead to an extremely entertaining match. But we move on now to the prediction. Now, last time these two sides played, it was Fiji who were able to get themselves the victory by the 7 points. I just haven't seen enough from New Zealand form-wise to think that this game would be any different, and I actually think Fiji may be able to win by a bigger margin. In this matchup, it is not too often that a side will score 4 tries up against South Africa. They have really prided themselves on the defence, the blitz box, throughout this whole season. So for that reason alone, I'm going 26-12 in favour of Fiji. May sound a little bit harsh, but I do think they can get the job done. And I also think their kicking should be better at the start of tomorrow. Few more opportunities to maybe run it round and make it an easier kick for them in the contest up against New Zealand. But of course, in a game of sevens, it can be extremely unpredictable and anything can happen throughout the 14 minutes. For this game, it is kicking off at 5:57 p.m. New Zealand time. That is 4:57 in Fiji, and I believe 6:57 a.m. in South Africa. Definitely a match to keep an eye on. We will be doing the commentary on the channel, so be sure to tune in for that. But thank you all very much for watching. Let me know your score predictions in the comments down below, and I will see you all for the next one.